This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning. Okay, today let us talk about more about the calculations. What are the different types of calculations we have? And there are some special calculations, LOD calculation, level of detail. And I know some of you have some questions. Yesterday you were asking about it. So what I would say is there are a couple of more topics which are pending in Tableau desktop. Let us finish those and maybe on Friday. So meanwhile, you can, continue to work on these projects and note down your questions. And on Friday, the entire session, you know, I'll have it for question and answer session. Okay. Yeah. So those who have not completed, you could still, continue working on it and note down your questions. Okay. Okay. So in the Google Drive, I've uploaded this claims.csv file and I hope everyone has downloaded it. And import that into Tableau. Okay. So for calculations, we will be working on some new data. So let me load that claims data. So this is the claims data. And what are the different columns we have? We have country, right? Where it has IN means India, US, and UK. These are the countries. Claim ID, claim item, claim amount, and paid amount. Now, what this data is, this is the data of the insurance company, and how do we do the claims, right? So let's say this is C1 means this is one claim, okay, and this belongs to country India. And how many claim items? So let's say to the insurance company you have claimed one document of the medicines bills, another one for prescription charges, doctor charges, right? So both of them you're trying to claim it. The claim is C1. Now the medicine charges were $100, so you were claiming for $100, but the insurance company had paid $80. In the similar way, for this prescription charges, doctor charges, you claimed for $200, but you were paid $70. Understood everyone how the data is in the similar way? So in India, if you see, there's only one claim. Under that one claim there are two items, but the claim is one. Okay. Now in US, there is C2 and C3, and these are the different line items, and this is the claim and paid amount. Now let me go to sheet, and if you see claim item, so what does a claim item consists of? Like this one, two, three. So this claim item, we will not be doing any calculations on that. We just want to treat this as a character column. So what is the use of summing up the claim item? There's no use, right? It just tells us that how many rows, how many claim items under that claim. So but when Tableau saw that okay, it has a numerical data in that column, it had put that into measures. Now I want to change that to dimensions. So what I'll do is I'll click on this and say convert it to dimension. Yeah, so it is now available in the dimension section. Now let me do a few things. Okay, now I've dragged this country. I want to do a calculation here, and the calculation is okay. Navya is getting an error, it seems, while loading that data. Tableau could not connect. Yeah, which option? I hope you have selected. Hope you have selected this text file option, huh, Navya? In this text file. So go through text file. There could be some compatibility issue. Yeah, so don't select Excel because that is not an Excel file, I guess. Okay, let me cross check. Okay, it's a CSV, right? It's a CSV. So go to text file option and you will see that what type of files you can load. CSV is one of them. Then try out. Okay, now I want to create a table here, and I want these two columns, paid amount and claim amount. So what do we do if we drag it onto the text? But if you want multiple tables, this approach will not work, right? So how did we learn that table thing? We need to make use of these measures. So I'll drag these measure names onto the filters, and I want these two columns, right? Paid amount and claim amount. I'll drag these measure values here, and I'll drag these measure names here. You see this claim amount and paid amount. You're seeing ABC because we have not dragged these measure values onto the text. So this is how you will do it. And I don't want those decimal places, point zero. I'll go to format. I'll go to numbers. I will go to custom and remove the decimal. Okay, this is what we want. Now, what we will do is to create a calculated field, and it will be paid amount divided by claim amount. So that means 150 divided by 300 and so on. Now, how do we do that? You can go to analysis, create calculated field. You can click on any of the column and say create calculated field, or else you can right click on the empty space and say create calculate. Three different ways of doing it. Okay. Now, let's say I would say ratio, any name I can give to my new column. Here I want to do paid amount divided by claim amount. This is how I do it, right? Paid amount divided by claim amount. So this is the ratio. Calculation is valid. If you do any mistake, it will show up the error here. I would say apply and OK. And I want this ratio also to be at the third column. So I will drag and drop here. And let me go to this ratio, and I want some decimal places here because we're doing some calculation. I want decimal places. So what I did, I just clicked on this format, and then I had this two decimal places. Right now, let me open that. Let me open that in an Excel. Okay. So this belongs to one. Sorry, this is one claim, one country. This is US. I'm just highlighting all the similar country names together in one color. So UK is this. Okay. Now, if you look at, what is the paid amount by each country. So for India, the paid amount is 150 and this is 300. You see at the bottom, the sum is 300. 100 plus 200, 300, and this is 150. So if you look at 150 divided by 300, how much it should be? It should be 50%, right? 0.5. But what are we getting here? What are we getting here? So any guesses from anyone what it could be happening? Why are we getting, we are doing simple division like paid amount divided by claim amount, but and I'm looking at by country, 150 divided by 300, it should be 0.5, but for this India, I am getting 1.15. Any guesses from anyone? Okay, let me give a hint. Let me give a hint. Um, okay, Jyoti is saying it's summing up both the column. Okay, both the column or both the rows. Now, so if you look at both the rows, yeah. So I've dragged this claim item. How the data is, our data is at this claim item level, right? So for each of the claims, so there are multiple, items, multiple claims you are doing within that one claim. Now, when you're just looking at by country, what it is doing is, it is doing, obviously all the calculations will happen at the row level, right? So it is dividing 80 by 100, 70 by 200, and this is the ratio. But when you are removing this claim item, when you are just looking at by this country, these two things are getting added. So 0.80, 0.35, 1.15, it will be around. So can you all try till here and then we will proceed. So now how do we tackle this? We will proceed it. But at least you all understood, you know, how the calculations work. Calculations always works at the row level. So we need to do, you know, we need to take care of, how do we handle these types of calculations. If you want to basically customize, how do we do that? So at least come till here, everyone, and then let me know once you're done. Yeah, so the claim item, what you do is, if you have a claim item here, click on it and say convert to dimension. So this is how you can change a dimension to a measure to a dimension based on your requirement. But Tableau, 99% of the time Tableau does it automatically. You don't have to worry about it. But in some cases, let's say employee ID or account number. So those things I don't want as a numeric column. Would I do any calculations on the account number? No, right? I want that to be a string, a text. But since it has numerical data, Tableau puts it under measure. So obviously you can change in this way from measure to dimension. Yeah, so these two columns you have it. The ratio, once you have created it, just drag and drop below it. So you would see, these three columns accordingly. Let me know if anyone had completed it.
I completed it, but the ratio is not coming in up to two decimal. It's coming up to one decimal. How to change it to
Yeah, so click on this sum of ratio, click on it and say format. Go here and select two decimal, number custom two decimal.
no, I'm not getting it. Format. Okay, I need to click on fields and then need to select the number.
Format.
Uh,
See, it says format sum ratio on the left hand side here on my screen. So that means you're trying to format sum ratio.
uh, okay, and now in the number I need to select the custom.
Okay. Now, now you all understood the problem, and and this is not the problem, but this is how Tableau works. It does the calculations at the row level, right? Now, if you want to control, right? So I don't want the calculations to happen like this. So one of the method is you'll go to that calculation, and instead of doing paid amount divided by claim amounts, I would say sum of. That means I'm summing up the paid amount. So if there are two records, two paid amounts, those will be summed together. If there are two claim amounts, those would be summed together, right? So I'm doing sum function on both the columns and then doing apply and OK. And since I have changed the calculation in the ratio, it will give an error like this because this ratio I dragged it earlier, but there is a change in the calculation. So I'll have to remove this, and let me remove this claim item also. Now let me drag this ratio and let me do a format. I want it as two decimal. Everything it got rounded off to one, but when we were showing two decimal, it says okay 0.50. Now it looks good, right? But behind the scenes, you know that okay, for India there are multiple rows, for UK there are multiple rows, for US there are multiple rows. If you don't use that sum function, it will does it at the row level, and then it will sum up all the averages. Yeah, so it's showing aggregate because we're using that sum function, right? In that. So basically it is summing up. We have used aggregate function.
I'm not getting aggregate in this in the list in the drop field.
Did you change the formula?
No, uh, even I'm not able to change it now. How to means uh, how to edit it?
Click on this ratio and say edit and make these changes some. When you will do that, it will, some of this ratio would get highlighted in red. So remove that. Okay, first what you do is the ratio which you already have, remove it from here, remove it. Then you go to edit and do the sum function on both the columns and then drag it. Let me keep that open. Yes, everyone done till here? At least you got an idea about how the Tableau calculations work and what do we need to do. This was very simple, but let me show you some of the other things. Okay, now can you all create this? So create one calculated field, let's say calc 1, and write this formula: sum of claims paid divided by count distinct of claim ID. In a similar way, create another calculated field and type this formula.
I changed the that means formula and it's coming red sign. Then I dropped it, and now I'm trying to add it again. It's showing the exclamation sign in the front of that, and it's not allowing me to drop this field. However, I can drop other field.
So there must be the error you must have done in the formula. So just check if the calculation is valid. Open that ratio field and see if you have closed the brackets properly. The calculation should be valid.
Yes, it's showing error, but not getting what is the error exactly.
Very simple. Sum between these brackets, you should have paid amount.
Okay, it's simple bracing. I have big brackets. That much. Okay. Still
Okay,
showing the
so still showing red.
still showing error. I have changed it
Remove
to
that. Remove that once again from the ratio. Drag again.
no ratio. I have removed, but when I added it, it's showing that the calculation contain error. But why it's showing the calculation contain error?
Okay, can you share your screen? I'm making you presenter. Share your screen.
Okay. You can see my screen.
Yeah. See, where are those square brackets? Square brackets are not there.
Earlier it was square brackets. I changed the bracket. That might be there.
No, 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 no. Okay, remove this. Rem delete everything. Control A and delete everything. Entire formula.
Control A.
Okay, start typing sum and bracket, round bracket, open and close. Round bracket, open and close.
Ground. This one you are saying, no?
Yeah, and close that also. Round bracket, close it. Yeah, and come in between it and start typing paid amount and select. See, whatever column is there, the column always gets in the square brackets. Those round
Okay.
brackets are for the sum function,
Okay. Okay.
and the square brackets means that is the column, right? Start
Fine.
typing key amount. And the square brackets are automatically coming when you are selecting any column. So the column needs to be in the square brackets.
Yeah, got you.
Okay. Now
Yeah,
remove
got.
that claim amount, claim item, so that you will see only one record. Claim item. You should see 0.5 and all that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now everyone created this sum of claim amount divided by count distance. So what I meant is like this. Okay. So do calc one, say sum of claim amount divided by count distinct of claim ID. So once you do this, drag this clay calc one also here. Now what is this happening? Um, so this 300 in India there was only one claim, but the records were two. So if I go here, there is only one claim C1, but the records were two. So what I wanted is this 300, it should divide by unique of claim ID. So the denominator, I don't want, if I just take a count function, the denominator will be 2. I want a distinct of claim ID. I want distinct of claim ID. So the denominator will be 1 here. So 300 divided by 1, it will be 300. In the similar way for UK, it is 600. But what will be the denominator for UK? So there are two claims, right? C4 and C1, two claims, two unique claims. So divide by 2, 600 divide by 2 is 300. Now, as I said, whenever you go to any calculations and click on edit, now you are not sure, okay, which function will give me the unique count. Now, if you expand this, now there are lot of calculations which are available, and you have to decide, okay, you want what type of calculation function you want, a number function. So imagine like in SAS also you have learned all these things. If it is a character column, so you would have that substring function, scan function, tran wrd function, right? compress function. So you will find some of them here. The contains, find function, uppercase, lowercase, trimming it, right? Now, if I go to number and if you scroll down, okay, so they have not given this. So in the count, I just typed count. Now, how will be the syntax? They have also given the syntax and the explanation. So let's say count, they say returns the number of items in a group. Null values are not counted. So if you just say count of customer ID, it's just like a count star. But when you say count distinct, so how in SQL you must have learned about select distinct and the column name from table name. So this count D will give you the distinct count of a region. So they're giving you the syntax also. But whenever you have any requirement, let's say to use you want to use this find function, and you can look at this description about that, and the formula is also here. That means if you use a find function and in any of the column, right, so in that there is a calculation and you're searching for ALCU. So ALCU, so the what the find function will give you, find function will return you the index position, right? Whatever you are searching, where did it find that search? So it found at the second position. So that is what the find function. So there are a lot of other functions you can explore, and the help is already there here. So if you go to the date, yesterday we were looking at some of the dates, like date difference, and here you have, okay, if you do date difference, if I have two dates, now between the two dates, you want the difference. You can have different types of differences. You want, okay, how many years we have between those two dates. Let's say 2013, there is April 2013, and there is April 2014. So if you take in terms of year, it will be 1 year. If you take in terms of months, there is a difference of 12 months, right? April to April, 12 months, right? So you can have all these date functions. So date diff in terms of month, I want month. This is the starting date and this is the ending date. So in the similar way, I think in SAS you must have learned about int ck, interval check, int nx, int ck, right? Date part. Let's look at the date part. So any date you have, you want the month of that, just the month. Returns the part of the given date as an integer where the part is defined by the date part. So if you have the entire, like with the time also, like you have date plus the time in that field, you just want to extract the date, not the time. You can have the date part. If you want the day of it, so now function returns the current date and time. So today function will just return you the date, but now function will return you the date and time. Year function, so in SAS also you must have learned year, month, quarter. And there is one assignment as well, which I'll be uploading. So if you go, there are a lot of so this is the dashboard where you would see a lot of different types of calculations. So if you go to, okay, how do we do the concatenation of the string. So you see 01 concatenation string here. Click on edit. So you would see, okay, how do we do the concatenation with the explanation? So how do we do the concatenation here by using the C plus icon? Here you have string to date. Okay, how do we convert a string column to the date? So date parse is the function for that. So there are a lot of calculations. So whenever you get time this weekend, so don't worry about it now. But on weekend, just try to work on all these fields, all these calculations. Yeah. And whenever you do these things, you always go and let's say here they're using upper, right? So if you the explanation is already there in this, so this is the comment, okay? This is the comment. But if you want, you can also search here. So convert upper function, what it does, it converts text string to all uppercase letters. Okay, now let me talk about there's something called as, so these are basically the calculations which you could accomplish by using all those options. What if there is any requirement, you can go ahead, use pick those functions and try to create a new field. But there are some special calculations which are available, and those are called level of detail. Now, what this level of detail is, allows you to compute values at the data source level and at the visualization level. Sometimes you want to do the customization, how generally the calculation works. You want to twist it basically. So LOD expressions give you even more control on the level of granularity you want. So whenever we talk about, you'll understand, when I'll be, taking you through the example in the Tableau. But whenever you talk about level of detail, three things you should remember: include, exclude, and fixed. So mostly, in most of the projects, include and fixed is being used, and mostly include. But exclude, even I have not used it, but I'll explain you what is the use of that. But just remember, in the interview also, they if they ask, okay, have you heard about LOD calculations, what are the different types of LOD calculation, you should talk about these three: include, exclude, and fixed. And why do we use it if they ask? Because LOD expressions gives you more control on the level of granularity you want to compute. So just remember this statement, but let's go and look at what does that mean. Okay, now let me duplicate this sheet, and let me remove. Okay, let me keep this. Now what I will do is I'll go and create calculated field, and I would say calc underscore include. Now look at this, huh? How the calculation over here is, it will be in this braces, then you would say include, and on which column. Okay, let me write this and then I will explain. So this is little bit tricky. Okay, you need to remember this. Okay. Now let me do apply and OK and drag it and show you. And I'm doing, let me do uh, the average of it. Let me do the average. Okay, I'm looking at this column. Okay, um, and let me remove this ratio also, otherwise we will get confused. Okay, so what this is doing is I'm looking at the claim amount and I'm doing average of it. So it's 300, so divided by 1, right? So the my average will be 300. My denominator will be 1. Okay. Um, if I look at this US, let's look at this US, it says 250. And if I'm summing up all these, so what is the value? The sum is coming to be 500. Now, why it is giving 200? My sum is 500. My average is giving 250. Can you all guess why? Distinct of claim ID. Perfect, Shivan. So it is looking at, I'll show you the formula. It is looking at, yeah, 5 claims. Yeah, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would not say 5 claims, there are only 2 claims. And those 2 claims are C2 and C3, right? But within that C2, you have multiple claims. So this is for medicine, this is for medical report, this is for doctor charges, but the claim is one, C2 is one claim. Now, you know, how many distinct claims we have? Two. And that is what it did. 500 divided by 2, it is 250. So if you go to UK, 600 divided by 2, C4 and C1, it is giving you 300. Now, what we are doing here in this include, so someone rightly said, why it gave 250, because there are 2 claims, right? Distinct claims. Now, how did that calculation understood that, okay, we want to take distinct of claim ID because of this. So after include, whatever column you mention here, that means we are controlling the denominator. We are controlling the denominator, the claim ID. Now, what we want to do after that, we want to look at sum of claim amount. So it's basically sum of claim amount divided by the distinct of claim ID. Now, let me duplicate this and let me, instead of include, let me do fix. Everything will be same, okay? Formula, and let me give calc underscore excel, so that becomes easy for me to remember that this is the sorry, not exclude, fixed, right? Okay, this is the fixed LOD calculation to apply and okay, and I'm doing this fixed and I'm dragging this, sorry, um, I'm dragging this here and changing this to average. Now, can you all guess? For India, previously it was 300 average, but now it is 600. Why so? So think about this. Think about this. For India, you know, we got 250, which was 300, which was right also. Like, okay, 300 divided by 1, but now for India, the average claim amount you are getting is 600. Can you all guess why? And that too is happening with the fixed. And which one we are fixing? We are fixing this claim ID. This is a hint. Okay, it took all C1. Perfect. So what this fixed did is, in fixed, for India, we saw, okay, there is only one claim C1. But since we are fixing this claim ID, it doesn't look at the country. Now I am fixing this claim ID. That means irrespective of the country, it will go and look for those claims. So C1 is also present in UK. So how this will be is, so this C1 100, I'm looking at this, and again there is C1 that says 200. These two. Okay. Now this C1 is also present here. So what it will do is C1, again there is 100, and C1 it's 200. So these are for India, these are for UK. Now since you are fixing this, and what is this? This is the claim ID. Irrespective of the country, it is looking at that claim on the entire data set level, and then it is doing this sum. So 600. So okay, sum is 600, sum is 600, but how many claims? Rows are multiple, rows are 4, but the claims is only one, right? So 600 divided by 1, the average is coming out to be 600. Now let us look at UK. Let us look at UK. Now for UK, ideally what we would say, okay, 600 divided by 2, it should be 300. But what it is happened, it is giving us 250. Sorry, it is giving us what? UK 450. So what has happened? C1 is also there here, right? On the entire claim ID. It is adding these two also. Now what is your total? 900. So 900 divided by what will be the denominator? Denominators would be unique claim IDs, right? C1 and C4, 900 divided by 2 is 450. That is what you're looking at. So what do you understand from these include and exclude is, you were able to do the customization. When you say include a particular column, and whatever column you drag it, whatever column you look at, it will work within that boundaries, within that country column. That means within India itself, it will do that calculation, because you are doing an include. But when you say fixed, that means you are fixing that claim ID. You are fixing that claim ID. So that means irrespective of which column you drag it, it will do the summing up, basis on this claim ID. Now, what could be the use case of this? Sometimes what happens is, you will get some data, and imagine this is different countries, and this C1 you imagine as if credit cards, This is debit card, something like this. If you think about banking, so this is credit card. This is right. Now, if you look at the credit card count by India, that will be fine. But sometimes you want to do the calculations where you want to compute in the entire data set in this column. I want to take all the credit cards data. So wherever you have CC, wherever you have CC, irrespective of the country, right? You want to do the calculation. That means on the entire data set level, if we look at credit cards, we want to do the sum of those things. We want to do calculation like that. So how you can easily remember is when you use include, whatever column you drag it onto the dashboard, it is doing a group by. That means it is not going beyond these boundaries. It's just like a group by within that country. It will be within that country only. It's just like group by country. But whenever you are saying fixed, it is not doing group by. It is, you can think as if it is doing group by on this claim ID. That means all similar things together. How it was doing all C1 things together, right? Basically it is doing group by on this claim ID. That is what fixed is doing. Can you all do these two things quickly? So let me open the formula for include. So first try this include, drag it and change that to average. Let's try this. And these are not the round brackets, okay? So start with these curly braces. This curly braces, inside this you start typing that formula. Let me know once you're done. Once you're done with include, duplicate that and instead of include, just say fixed and drag that column also and make it average.
Done, Shiv.
Done. Everyone understood, right, the concept of it. Now let's duplicate this and let's try. So there are three formulas, right? Include, fixed, and exclude. And exclude we don't use much, but let's give it a try. And let me change the name underscore fixed to exclude. And let's drag that as well. Let's make that to average. So if you see, this exclude is also giving the same results as the sum, the actual data. Let's try that exclude as well. But exclude, is not much used. Even I have not used it because there's no meaning to that. But include and fixed, it's mostly used depending on the requirement. You want to, do group by on a particular field, or you want to fix it on a particular column. Yeah, basis on that you will decide whether to go for include or fixed. Okay, so it's already 8. So what we will do is let's continue these calculations, and there's one more topic, um, which is data blending in Tableau. And what I want is everyone now, can you all download the Tableau desktop also? So now if I go here, tab download. So there are some features which are not available in Tableau Public. So I want to, cover those things. And we will also be, next week we will be starting with the Tableau server as well. Okay. So now, let me click on this. Yeah, it will be a 14-day trial. As I said, Tableau desktop requires a license, right? But for 14 days you can use it. So I'm pinging the link. Enter your email address, just like how you did for Tableau Public. Download it and install it. So just like this Tableau Public, you would see another option, but you would not see public over there. So it will be Tableau and the version name, version number 2018.2. So just download it and keep it. Uh, I'm pinging this in the chat window. Download and install it and keep it ready. So we will be using that tomorrow. Okay, and on Friday, as I said, let's have a question and answer session. So if you have any questions, so bring it up on Friday. We will discuss it. Okay, so we will end for today. So please don't miss tomorrow's session. That is important. Um, so we will connect tomorrow again at the same time. Thank you.